almost said hose and teals, guys. Hose and teals. For toes and heels in my socks, not hose and teals. Hey everyone, welcome to the Stop, Drop, and Knit Podcast, episode 56. My name is Lisa. I am coming to you from Long Island, New York, and it just rained. Like, I had just about started to bring out all my stuff outside. Thankfully, I hadn't done that yet. And the skies opened up, and there was thunder, and it poured for like 10 minutes. And now it stopped, and so I think I'm safe to podcast now. But yeah, I'm glad I wasn't already out here for that. So yeah, it's kind of soupy out here today, but I am wearing knitting. I have a whole bunch of stuff to share with you guys today because I didn't really share that much last week because last episode was my big show off all of my hand knitted socks episode. If you didn't already watch that, I did a giveaway in that episode, and so I am going to be drawing a winner, and the winner is going to receive one pair of my Knitterly Things sock yarn because I have an unbelievable supply of Knitterly Things sock yarn because I've been subscribing to her club for about 4 years, and let's just say that I don't knit socks at the rate that I acquire sock yarn. So I will be drawing the winner for that, and I will do that now, but in the future, and so I will insert that on the screen. So congratulations to the winner. Let's get in touch. Stop, Drop, and Knit Podcast at gmail.com, and you can let me know what your favorite colors are, and I will dig through my stash and find something that I think you will love. So thank you to everybody who entered my giveaway for that. And let's just get into today's podcast. I've got so many new things to share with you guys. Well, not so many, but enough that I think it's going to be a pretty interesting episode. I've got some new cast on projects. I've got almost completed objects. I've got whips. I've got so much spinning progress to share with you guys, and I do have some acquisitions. So let's get into it. If you guys would like to know more about the projects that I am sharing today, you can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is at Lisa Westervelt Flute Studio. And I am also on Ravelry, where I have most of the details of my projects listed there. And on Ravelry, my username is LisaJack78. Okay, so today I am wearing a t-shirt that I test knit last summer for Caitlin Hunter. This is her Glacial Lights tee, and it is a really great project to use up your mini skeins, which is what I did, or scraps of yarn from other projects. So the Glacial Lights tee uses fingering weight yarn, and so I used just one skein for like the main color, and I don't even think I needed the complete skein. I think it was maybe about 50 grams or so, but don't quote me on that. I can't quite remember for sure. And then the rest of it, I used 4 different colors. This one's actually a mini skein that just coordinated with this regular skein, but it's actually different yarn. But you could easily use the same color. And you have so many options. I used 4 different colors for the stripes and repeated the sequence 2 times, which is how Caitlin wrote the pattern for it. But you could do so many things. I've seen people knit this in a big gradient of like an ombre palette with one color, or every stripe a different color, or just 2 colors. I mean, the possibilities are endless, so I think that this is the perfect little t-shirt to go diving in your stash and just see what you can find. So It was a really, really easy knit. It starts bottom up and you cast on this really cute lace pattern, and it goes really quickly because it's like the best of both worlds with knitting lace, which is addictive, and knitting stripes, so where you're changing the colors. So what I recommend is putting stitch markers between every repeat of the lace pattern. That way you can easily keep track of if you have made a mistake or not without having to rip back an entire row of like hundreds of lace pattern stitches. So this way, if you are on track every little repeat, it's much less frustrating if you do happen to make a mistake. But yeah, I love this. It's very lightweight. The lace pattern makes this very open and airy, so it's kind of like air conditioned, but there's plenty of coverage at the top, so there's no reason, like you don't have to worry about seeing through anything. So I love this. Yeah, I finished this, I want to say maybe last July, so almost a year ago now, and it was a pretty quick knit overall. I think it maybe took about a month altogether. So yeah, I love this. This is Glacial Lights by Caitlin Hunter. Okay, so now let's get into my knitting projects. I think the first thing I'm going to share is a brand new cast on, and this is a pattern that I am test knitting for my friend who I have never met in person, but she is a colleague, a singing colleague of my husband's. Her name is Nola Richardson, and she goes by Nola Louise Knits. And her name might sound familiar to you because I test knit a hat pattern for her, which was her very first pattern release over the winter. So I think maybe around February is when I did that for her. And she is a brand new designer. She is really talented. I've been really impressed so far with her patterns, even though she's only done a couple. She uses very interesting stitch patterns, so it's the knitting is very interesting with a little bit like moderate difficulty, but not overwhelmingly difficult. So the pattern that I'm test knitting for her now is something completely new to me, and that is a bralette. So I'm gonna pop up an image on the screen of her finished bralette and people modeling them. I do not know if I am going to feel comfortable modeling the finished product for you guys or not. But we will see. I have not been working out lately, so I'm not in the best physical shape of my life right now, which, you know, is fine. I just don't know how I feel about flash in my stomach, mostly on the internet, so we'll see. But I wanted to, oh, actually, hang on a second, because it rained, I didn't bring everything outside. So I'm gonna go get the skein of yarn so I can show you what I used. So hang on. Okay, so Nola's pattern calls for worsted weight yarn, which I have really nothing in my stash that is worsted weight. Every time I do a worsted weight project, I need to go purchase yarn because it's just not what I buy. If I'm tending to shop for yarn and I don't have a specific project in mind, I tend to just pick up fingering weight and sock yarn and things like that, because that's what I use most frequently. So I did have to go do a little bit of shopping, and I picked up 2 skeins because I'm probably gonna need to use slightly more than one. And I thought for a bralette, I would pick a nice, fun, bright color. So I have this really bright, like highlighter yellow yarn, and I've actually met Kelly Straub. She is the dyer behind Shirsty Cat Designs, and I met her several years ago when she vended at the Long Island Fleece and Fiber Fair, probably about 2018. So I saw this yarn and I thought that looks like a fun color for a bralette, and it is called Buzz Buzz, and my yarn shop had it on sale because they were moving some stock around. So I picked up 2 skeins of that, And my ball winder also is in my new apartment. So I did the old school style way of wrapping the yarn around my knees and making a ball of yarn for this. So what this is looking like so far is, I'm trying to find the right side. Here we go. All right. Now, I have only this much done so far, and that is because I kept messing up the tuck stitch pattern. Finally, I looked up how to do it because I kept doing it wrong. And yeah, what you do for the tuck stitch is you I'll show you. You insert the needle a couple stitches below. This is not really easy to show. And then you just knit while it's still inserted, and then you drop the stitch. It's kind of hard to show on here. But what I was doing was I was just picking up the stitch and knitting that in the front instead of inserting my needle just all the way through. And so it took me a while to realize it looks beautiful. The pattern that I was doing was beautiful, but it was not what Nola wrote. So I had to rip this back actually 2 times, and that took quite a while. So this is now my 3rd night of work on it. So this beautiful tuck stitch pattern, I'm sure that is blowing out on this camera, but you can see the texture there is really fun. And so I have done already the short rows. So this is going to be pretty stretchy. I did a new to me cast on. So she calls for an alternate cable cast on. And so she has tutorials on how to do everything. And so I was easily able to do that. What was kind of nice about that one is, unlike the long tail cast on where you're estimating how much yarn you're going to need, you don't need to worry about the length of the tail other than having enough to finish it off. You just kind of start going, and so you don't have to estimate how much yarn you need for the cast on. So that was kind of nice. Yeah, I think maybe because it's summertime now, I'm really enjoying the brightness of this. I don't usually choose super bright colors unless it's for something like socks, but I thought for a bralette it would be really fun. So yeah, so this is due, I think the test knit is due on the 25th, and today's the 17th. So I've got a week still, and I think now that I know what I'm doing, it's actually gonna go pretty quickly. So yeah, I have to do maybe about a dozen more rows, and then I have to split for the V-neck part of the bralette. So I think it's gonna be really cute, and I have never knit an undergarment before, so I'm curious to see how I'm going to like that. But even if I can't wear it much in the summer, I mean, I'm not going to wear it as a regular top. I guess you could, and she shows how you can wear it as the top to do yoga or something. So you could wear it as an exercise bralette type garment with yoga pants or something. I mean, I do yoga sometimes, so maybe let's see how that works out. But probably I'm going to be wearing it just as a regular undergarment underneath my knits and as an extra layering piece in the cooler months especially. So yeah, so I will keep you guys posted on the progress of this bralette. I should have it done by the next time I record because, as I said, this is due in about 8 days, so it should be done by the next time I record. So yeah, we'll see how I feel modeling it for pictures. I would like to be able to get pictures modeling it for her, so we'll see. We will see. Okay, so I have gotten quite a bit of work done on my Soufflé tee, so I'm really excited to share progress on that project. Guys, this project is really getting there. If I had not started the test knit, probably this would be done by now. But you know how knitting goes. You just move from one project to another, and they get finished as they get done. So I think last time I showed you this, I wasn't able to finish the body because I needed to make a trip to my own personal yarn shop, which is my new apartment where all of my yarn stash is. And I needed to get the appropriate size needles so that I could finish off the folded hem. So this is not blocked yet, so it's maybe like puckering a little bit, but I think it's gonna be really, really nice. So let me show you. I also have done a sleeve and a bit. So this is actually really starting to look like a sweater. Look at that. It looks like something that you could wear on your body. So, all right. I'm really excited about this. I have seen people, when they have been sharing their in-progress photos, a lot of people have already like done the ruffle and the neckline, but I just kind of followed the pattern and I did the whole body. So it's gonna be, you know, sitting about there. And I did a short sleeve. So I did not finish off the sleeve yet. I did not finish off the neckline yet. I'm gonna do all of that finishing work at the very end when I'm done with the second sleeve. I'm about halfway through the second sleeve now, so we're not too far off. So I will show you the first sleeve here where I left off. So I think that basically you're gonna, I'm not really sure. This is how I have it bound off right now. And then I don't know if it's gonna be like folded down inside, maybe as the hem of the body is, but on a much shorter level. I'm not exactly sure because I haven't done it yet, how that's gonna work out. And then the neckline is going to have an I-cord edging, which is going to give it a little bit more structure and cinch it in a bit. And then the back of it is going to have a button and keyhole closure like that. And then of course the most fun part, which is the whole reason that I wanted to knit this top in the first place, is the whole ruffle part that goes right there. So it's getting close. You guys can see this top part, let me see if I can show you, is a single strand up here. So it is going to be sheer, so you can see through it like that. But then it's from this point where the ruffle is going to be and down, it is not sheer, or not as sheer, because it's two strands held together. So the whole yoke section will be a little bit see-through, but because of where the ruffle falls, it doesn't reveal anything. So I'm pretty excited to see how this is going to be. I have not tried this on yet. I will, I think, as soon as I finish the other sleeve. So I'm crossing my fingers that it's going to fit well. I think it will. It looks pretty promising, I think, right now. So yeah, I think it's gonna be good. And I think that'll sit a little bit higher so that the ruffle will be about there, which is a little bit higher than this is here. So I think the ruffle is gonna sit about here when it's all said and done. So yeah, so I'm hoping that this will also be finished by the next time I record. Might not be blocked yet, we will see, because all of my blocking materials are in the apartment, and yeah, so I don't know if I'll have it blocked yet, but I should at least have it finished and ready to be blocked. So that's my souffle tee update. I feel like it finally looks like something, which is always exciting. I think in the beginning stages, you're knitting, and you know that it's going to look like something, but it doesn't usually look like anything for quite a while. But now it does. It looks like, oh, that's gonna be a shirt, that's gonna be a top. So it's very exciting when it gets to that point. Okay, so I have done a little bit of work on both of my other sweater projects, so I will show you. It's not a whole lot to talk about, but I'll just show you the status of where those are at, because I think it's been about a month now since I've shown you those at all. So I'm just gonna update you on the progress of those two tops. Okay, so I did a little bit more work on my Effervescent pullover, which is the cover of the spring issue of the Pom Pom magazine. And this is a design by Aimee Sher, I think her very first sweater design. And the yarn that I am using is also the Wandering Flock, which is what the designer used, but it's in a different colorway called Cosmic Tie-Dye. So this is the mohair that will be used for the ruffle. And then this is the singles base that is used for the regular part of the sweater. And so, just gonna put that back in there. So I've got two alternating skeins going so that I don't have any strange pooling. And I don't know really how much more this has grown, but I feel like I have put a few more inches on it since the last time I showed it. I'm just gonna try to grab the top of the cable so that you can actually see. So this is the amount of progress that I have done. Not that much, but honestly I have been focusing on the Soufflé tee as my main like sweater knitting project, and I think now that that other one is getting to a completed state, this is the one I'm going to really focus on next. So yeah, I mean, I've got at least 6 inches of the body done. So this one is obviously worked bottom up, and then the yoke has a really nice lace pattern plus another sweet little ruffle. So yeah, so that is slowly coming along. I work on it a little bit here and there, like a couple times a week usually, so it hasn't really gotten that much attention. But that one will be one that gets a little bit more focus as I finish up the Soufflé tee and the little bralette that I'm knitting. And then we have my Modernist cardie, which, you guys, I have put so many hours of work into this cardigan. It's not gonna look any different, but I'm gonna show you anyway, just to remind you of the projects that I have going on. We are at the point where every row takes like 20 minutes. So I average about 3 rows an hour, which is not a lot because there are so many stitches on this thing. All right, this is the bottom. So this is like a lot. This is a lot. So this is upside down. I'm very excited about this one, but it is taking forever. It's so slow. Okay, so let me hold it from the top. So flipping it up, I will hold it by the sleeves as if it were like on a hanger a bit. So there we go. This is how it is coming along. I have made so much progress on it. I can probably actually, hang on. I'm gonna put this down. I'm gonna put this on, I think, so we can see again how this is going to look. I think I can do this without any chance of it coming off the needles. I say that now and watch me have a disaster. Okay. So, yeah, so it's getting there. I have done so much knitting. All right. This is the yarn I'm using. So this is my brand ambassador project that I have been working on since October. It's been quite a while. I love these colors. Oh my gosh, every time I put this on, it makes me so happy seeing how this is knitting up. These are my favorite colors ever. They're so pretty. So you can see I have done quite a bit of work on this. Quite a bit of work. There's still quite a bit to go. So the rows are counted. So this is taking a long time because these are now worked back and forth, which means every other round is a purl round. And so it's like 300 and something stitches, and it's very, very fine gauge yarn. This is a light fingering weight. This is the Cheshire Cat base on the color burst yarn, and the color is, I think, number 19, I think, Splashing Through Petals. Yeah, number 19, Splashing Through Petals. This is Wonderland Yarns color burst yarn. My skein is kind of falling apart, but it's basically solid purple with fun splashes of teal in there. They have so many beautiful colors. I love this yarn. I think this is a really, really fun yarn to use for like a solid pattern. Like if you can choose a garment that could be like a solid color, this is a really fun yarn to substitute for a solid yarn. Yeah, so this, oh my gosh, this is gonna be really fun. I really wanna have this done maybe by my birthday. I think my birthday, though, it'll still be too warm. My birthday is Labor Day. Actually, Labor Day this year, my birthday is a national holiday. Every once in a while that happens. Yeah, so I think this will be too warm to wear for my birthday, but that could be a fun deadline to give myself. So, yeah. So let's see. I think I have about 15 or 16 more rounds to go in the body before I do the ribbing for the hem, which is, I don't know if it's 1 inch or 2 inches, but that's bound to take forever as well. Yeah, and then the sleeves. So it's coming. I swear, I have spent hours and hours working on this thing, and it really doesn't look any different, I think, from the last time. But it is slowly, very slowly getting there. And you guys, I still have not finished my Sometimes in April socks. I still have not finished them. They're close. I think I'm up to the toe. I just haven't sat down and done it. I don't know why. Probably because it's not sock wearing weather now and they're just sitting there. So it's kind of ridiculous that I've had those on the needles for so long as well, but it is what it is, and I will try to have the socks finished by the next episode as well. So maybe next time I'll have 3 finished objects. That's my goal. My goal is to have the bralette and the souffle tee and those socks finished by the next time I podcast. All right, that is all of the knitting progress updates I have for you guys today, but I have so much spinning to share with you. So let me dig out my spinning projects. I'm so excited. I have finally finished not just 1, but 2 yarns, I think. So I want your opinion on the second one, but I think I have finished 2 yarns. So I am so excited. These both are yarns that I have been working on since the fall. I started them in the fall, and then I lost my spinning mojo for several months because spinning is just something that I mostly enjoy sitting outside to do. I don't really like bringing my knitting outside because it feels too heavy, but spinning for me is just the perfect thing to just bring outside because you don't have a whole lot of warm, fuzzy fluffiness like sitting right on top of you when you're working with it. So I really enjoy doing my spinning when it is beautiful weather outside. So I finally finished up my sweater weather yarn. I do not know how many yards this is. The 2 bigger skeins, I think when I counted the yardage around my nitty noddy they were each about 130, I think. So I think I've got about 260 yards here, and then these 2 together are probably about the same. So that would be close to 400 yards, I think, all together. If this is 260 and this is about another 130, that's, 380, 390. So I think that's what I'm estimating. So I don't know what I'm gonna use this for. I think I mean, it is uneven, but it's beautiful. It's so pretty. It reminds me of an autumn sunset. So these colors, it's the Sweater Weather colorway, which I got from Frabjous Fibers, which is from Wonderland Yarns. So this was a brand ambassador spinning project that I did. And this was a limited edition colorway, so I don't know if they're going to bring it back this fall or not, but they should because it's so beautiful. I love this. This makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. I loved working with this. The fiber content is Polworth Silk Blend, and it was an absolute dream. The last fiber that I used from Frabjous Fibers was completely 100% Polworth wool, and so this was just a little bit different. This had a bit of silk in it as well, and I'm wondering if maybe that would make it good for a sock yarn, because I think that silk strengthens the fiber a bit. I'm not 100% sure about that. You guys can let me know if that's accurate, that silk strengthens wool. But I think so. So maybe this would make good sock yarn. I certainly have enough yardage for a pair of socks. Or maybe I will do what I did with my Junction pullover and use it as like a fun substitute for Spin Cycle in a colorwork sweater project, because I certainly would have enough for a contrasting color of that as well. I think it is between a fingering sport and DK weight, depending. It's not even, and I'm totally okay with that. I do this on my drop spindle. I have not been spinning for that long. I mean, I've been spinning for a few years now, maybe 3 years, but I'm a slow spinner. Like, this is very slow fashion work for me because I do it on my drop spindle. Usually it just takes me months and months and months to finish a spin because of my drop spindle. So yeah, I'm not completely consistent yet, but I still think it's beautiful. And overall, it's probably about a sport weight. So I don't really know. I think, just like Spin Cycle is technically a sport weight, but people use it more for fingering weight. I think I would be fine mixing it probably with either a sport weight yarn or a fingering weight yarn, depending on what kind of project I wanted to do. So I really love it though. It is so pretty. So that is 100% finished. I have washed it and thwacked it and finished it and set the twist and all of that good stuff. So this is all the way done. Next, now this, I'm debating on this one because this is also, this is also a yarn that I have been spinning since the fall because it's an autumn yarn. This one is alpaca merino silk, and this one is SweetGeorgia. And it's 50% alpaca, 30% merino wool, and 20% silk. And so I finally, the last yarn I wanted to show you, this yarn here I spun on this spindle, which happens to match colors perfectly, nice and coordinating like that. So pretty. So this is my medium spindle. I've got 3 different spindles that I use. So I've got a real big bulky one, which is what I started spinning this other one with, and it was not working out. So then I switched and I started spinning it on this very light, smaller spindle. And so when I had my ball winder, I was able to get it off my spindle and have these little cakes. So this is what it looks like in cake form. So I spun pretty thin, I think between lace and fingering weight. I think maybe even closer to lace weight yarn with this. But then the last 2 singles that I spun, I didn't have my ball winder, and so I just did these balls. It's so pretty. So I wanted to show you just the 2 different ways that these look. I might wind these into balls. So what I'm considering, actually, my original intent was to do what I always do, which is make a 2-ply yarn. But this, it feels very, very strong. I think because it's 20% silk. The fiber just, it feels really strong. And so I'm debating leaving these as a singles. And this, I mean, these look small, but let me tell you, this is, I don't know how much yardage it is because I didn't do it on my Nitty Naughty, but it's a lot. These are like, this is a lot of yardage, even just right with these two. Plus I've got all of this. So I've got to have at least 500 yards, I would think, of this. So what I'm thinking, maybe even more than that, I don't know, it's a lot. I'm considering leaving this as a lace weight yarn, singles, and making a shawl, maybe, for the autumn. So the colorway is called Falling Leaves. It's so pretty. I love, especially like the blue and purple sections in there. So I got both of my autumn yarns done. I'm gonna just leave this right now as a singles. I'm not gonna ply it. If anything, I might take these and maybe ply a little bit of it to see how I like it. But I'm really tempted to just look for a pattern that uses like a lace weight yarn for maybe like a really big, beautiful lace weight shawl. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you guys think I should do. Should I leave it as singles? It does feel really strong. But the weight, I mean, disregard this little part at the end. But basically, I think I pretty much have a lace weight yarn because it's very, very thin. So I have not measured wraps per inch yet or anything, but it's just what I'm estimating. If anything, it's fingering weight, but either lace or fingering. So those are my two finished yarns. Finished if I leave it as a single. And then I got in the mail a few days ago, I got my Paradise Fibers subscription for June. And I actually started spinning it right away because I was finished with the spinning projects that I had here with me at the house and didn't have any other fiber. So I dug right into this. Here, and I'm going to show you what the fiber looks like, but it is bamboo. It's 100% bamboo. I have never spun bamboo before. It is very slippery. It is very tricky so far to spin, but this is how much I have done so far, and this is the shiniest fiber that I have seen, and I think I have 4 ounces of this. So this reminds me of 2 things. This reminds me first of like a mermaid tail. So it was like a beach vibes theme bag. So if you're thinking of the beach, it reminds me of like, you know, like fish or mermaid tail, seashells, you know, it's very shiny. And it's this very beautiful blue and purple color, but this blue and purple also reminds me of that really big monster from Monsters, Inc., the Disney movie. Now, I don't remember the monster's name because I think I've only seen that movie like once. It wasn't like one that Owen watched over and over. But I think you guys know what I'm talking about. The monster from Monsters, Inc. It's like these exact colors. But it's very slippery. And bamboo sheds a ton. Like, I was wearing black pants when I was working on this, and it was shedding all over me. But yeah, so this is the bamboo. Have you guys ever worked with bamboo? Because this is my first time, and it's really, really slippery. So what they suggest is working it from the fold, which is also my first time doing that. Usually what I do is I wrap it like around my hand and I just pull and spin from the end. But that's kind of really finicky like that. So what I've been doing, a mulberry just fell on me. Did you guys see that? All right, so I've been spinning from the fold, which is when you basically fold it in half and pull it from the center like that. And so that's how I have been working with this one. So yeah, so lots of spinning updates today. And I think that brings us to my acquisitions. So I actually have to go in the house and grab that stuff because it's very wet out here, so I didn't want to bring my bag out here. So I'm gonna pause you guys, go get my acquisitions, and come right back. So I actually have quite a bit of acquisitions to share with you guys today. As always, I wasn't planning on having acquisitions, but well, a couple things happened as always. So here we are, we have acquisitions, and I like to share them with you guys. So the first thing is that I received in the mail my Knitterly Things sock yarn subscription, and this is for May 2022. So I have 2 subscriptions of Julia's. I have her regular sock yarn club, which you can sign up for every 3 months. And so the color that she did is called Lake Shore Beauty, and it looks like this. So just really, really beautiful, fun, bright colors for summer. And it's on her glitterful base. So these are all self-striping sock yarns is what Julia specializes in. I opt to have a mini included. You don't have to have one, but I like to have them available either as an option to use for I almost said hose and teals, guys. Hose and teals. For toes and heels in my socks, not hose and teals. Or just in my stash of minis, because I don't tend to buy minis. I just like acquire them through my sock yarn club, and if I need a mini for something, I just have a whole bunch of them. And then this other one immediately screamed Owen to me. So this is her remix club, which unfortunately you can only sign up for this in January. But this was her May 22 colorway, and she called this one Sweetwater Remix, and this one screams Owen to me. It's just kind of like bright primary colors. Of course, his favorite colors are orange and blue, so as soon as I pulled this one out, I knew that this is going to become a sock knitting project for Owen. And usually if I'm going to make socks for Owen, I just make myself a pair too, because there's always enough to knit both of us a pair out of it. So these are going to be some very fun, like primary color socks. I mean, the only color that I don't see in here is actually yellow. So it looks like there's white maybe instead of yellow, and there's no purple. So red, orange, green and blue, and white. So it's kind of perfect. And then, yeah, and then this bright orange. So those were the 2 sock yarn colors. Oh, so this was her glitterful base, which is 75% superwash merino, 23% nylon, and 2% of the stellina. And then this is a different base of hers. You can choose what base you want, or you can leave it up to Julia to surprise you, which is what I do because I really don't have a preference. And this one is 75% superwash and 25% nylon. So this is just without the stellina in it. So those are those. And then I had 2 other yarn purchases. So I already showed you the bright highlighter yellow green yarn that I'm using for the bralette. So I went to my local yarn shop to shop specifically for that yarn. But while I was there, my eyes, this was an unplanned purchase, immediately gravitated to this bright, fun Madeline Tosh Merino Light, I think is what it is. Mad Tosh, yeah, Tosh Merino Light, which is 100% superwash merino wool. It's a singles. This color is called Pinata Pop. Look at this. It's like actual neon colors with just like black speckles everywhere. And so because I just had to bring this home, it was bright and it stood out. obviously because of how bright it was. They also had a sample worked up. I don't know what the shawl pattern was, but they had it held with a black. Now, at least at my yarn shop, they didn't have a black Madeline Tashlight yarn. They had like a really deep gray. I don't know if Madeline Tash does like an actual black, but what I picked up was Ba yarns. So this is a sock yarn too. So it's not a singles, it's a sock yarn. So you can see like the singles has no ply to it at all. And there is a ply, you can see in this one. So this is a little bumpier because it's plied together. And this one is smoother because it is not. So I think the light shining on it right now is actually really showing it off pretty well. But this is Ba Yarn La Jolla, and this is 100% superwash merino wool, 400 yards. So this is just like a plain black yarn. So I was thinking I should probably find like a Stephen West design or something. I feel like this bright neon would really highlight one of his designs really well. So I don't know. I have to look through his patterns and see what he has, but I could not pass that up. I thought that was just, it just reminds me of like the 90s, and I love it. I love it so much. I have no idea what I'm going to make with it. Give me your shawl patterns for like something that would be really, really bright and fun. I'm thinking a shawl. That's just kind of what I'm thinking. So, all right. And then I have one more yarn purchase. Okay. So you guys know that Susan B. Anderson makes the cutest stuffed animal patterns. Now, I missed out this time on her cute little hen pattern. I'm going to insert a picture because out of all her patterns, this might be like the most adorable thing ever. And okay, even though I tend to buy these things and want to knit them for myself, I actually have a plan to knit this hen for, okay, so my boss had a baby like during the pandemic, and she is like a year and a half. I think now she's like about 18 months. And I didn't know that my boss had a baby until like I went back to work this summer, because we were all working remotely, and I had no idea. And now they're expecting another little girl at the end of October. So, but I wanted to make something for the 18-month-old, and I saw this hen, and I just thought, you know, that would be really, really, really cute gift for a toddler, right? It's adorable, and it's got like a little baby chick in a pocket of the sweater and a little egg in the pocket of another sweater, so it's like she could play with it. It's so cute. So anyway, I missed the kit, but you can buy her yarn separately, but she didn't have the colors that she sells in the kits. And now this hen is like a bright white, bright red, regular gray, and like a bright yellow. And I couldn't really find those exact colors at all, but I ordered, so I ordered from her website, and what I ordered was a different, so it's actually a sport weight yarn. So she did the pattern she's got like one version for her fingering weight and one version for worsted weight. I went with a sport weight, so I'm gonna have to figure out my own like needle sizes, but it's still gonna work out fine as long as I use appropriate needle size. So this is actually, I don't know, it just says woolens. It's her sport weight, and I don't know if there's exactly a name for it, but the color, so I got snowbound. And so what I did was I got three of the white, because I wanted to have enough in case I wanted to make two. And then I got two for now I thought it was going to be more gray, but it's kind of like a little bit more brown. So the colors turned out not exactly what I was expecting, but I think it'll still look really nice. This color is called Loam, and so that's that color. And then, so that's, you know, it's not really gray, but that's for the sweater and for the hat. And then the other two colors are actually more of like a mustard and a rust instead of like a red. So on the website, it looked more red to me. So I was kind of a little bit disappointed when they came, just because they're beautiful colors, but it wasn't like that bright red that I was hoping for. But I think that they'll still work. So I'm still gonna give it a go. The yarn is beautiful. So I don't know. If I haven't yet knitted up and she happens to release more of the kit in the meantime, I might just order the kit so I have like exactly the right colors, because this will still work beautifully for like any other colorwork project. But these two colors are called, this one is October Road, and this one is Pound Cake. So, I mean, they're beautiful. It's a beautiful fall palette. So, here, there's just tags. There's tags everywhere in the way, but I think you guys can see. It's a beautiful fall palette. So, we'll see if I like the way it works up for the hen. I bet it'll still be really, really cute. I don't think that I might have some acrylic in my stash, which might work also, especially if I'm gonna give it to a toddler. And then I could always keep this for something else. But my intent when I purchased this was to use it for her cute, adorable little hen pattern. So that is everything that I have to share with you guys today. It feels really good to be getting back to podcasting. I need to check the time. Sorry, I needed to check the time because I need to pick up Owen from the bus, and the rain delayed the start of my recording, and I've got about 10 minutes to say goodbye, so this will work just perfectly fine. Yeah, it feels really great to be sitting down and actually recording a podcast, updating you guys on my progress. I got really busy at work, especially in April and May, and so I did have some remote work that I had to take care of this week, but plus with Owen's like tech rehearsals for Willy Wonka, I haven't actually been home a lot, but I have been finally sitting down in the evenings and staying up way too late again. Now that I don't have to be in the office early, I'm staying up late knitting again. So I'm actually making some progress on all of my projects, and yeah, so it feels amazing to have it like an actual update to share with all of you guys. So congratulations again to the winner of my sock yarn giveaway. Thank you guys all for entering and watching that fun video, and I will see you guys again really soon. I hope maybe next week, because I'm off now, so we'll see. Okay, bye everybody.